card in the camera, and I don't understand how there's a card in the camera. But there is, and I don't know if anything's on it. I'm in the mode of repeating myself these days because I'm repeating myself, but I want to have this recorded because I'm shooting really well. For the last several days, I've kind of been pivoting when I feel like I need to. Like if it's a tough shot or whatever, I did a video about that the other day. But even on the easier shots, I'm concentrating well enough that I'm not pivoting, but everything else is kind of the same. When I get down here though, then I'm doing the more relaxed stuff. And the video I made the other day it wasn't like that. It was just I would be relaxed, or I would pivot in and then be super accurate. In these last few days, I haven't been doing it that way. I've been, I guess, concentrating really well, which is freaking weird for me. And that combined with the pivoting that I'm doing is, like I said, I'm shooting really well. I'm not making every shot. But even when I miss, I feel like I'm hitting it accurately enough that I'm learning something. Instead of just, well, I missed that, that was weird, or what the hell happened there? I feel like I'm doing a good job of knowing that I hit the cue ball wrong, was my judgment wrong, that I hit the cue ball in the wrong direction. No judgment or execution. I feel like my execution is being really good, except for those times when I'm not hitting the cue ball where I want to hit it. I found that I have to. If I'm aiming at center ball, I'm concentrating well enough that if I'm aiming at center ball, if I stop here and really look at what I'm doing, I'm not aiming at center ball. I'm aiming a 64th of an inch that way. And I'm adjusting for that, and that's allowing me to hit the freaking cue ball in the center when I want to, or 6 o'clock when I want to, more often, I think. And it's nice. Now, a shot like this, I don't want to put right English on this ball, because that'll hold the cue ball up. I want to try to get over here. So I want to hit it at 6 o'clock, like a true stun shot. And that means, okay, I'm not at center ball. So just come over a little bit. I've just come over with this hand just a little bit. I didn't do this. And in that case, I've moved this hand over a little bit. Now if I really look at it, I am a center ball. And that's great. But just at first glance, it looks like I'm off to the left a little bit, because of just the way my eyes are working. But it's not the case. It's very cool, and I don't know how much of this is concentration, how much of it is something else, but just the way that I've been shooting, even physically, even if you throw out the concentration stuff, I like what I'm doing. I like the fact that I am, for the most part, being really careful and all that when I go to get my stance, but I get in the shot, and then I'm kind of giving it to Obi with the Scott Frosty stuff and all that. Now, missed that shot by 100 miles, but that's it. I'm not making every shot. But I'm shooting pretty darn well, especially compared to the way I was shooting, the 2-3 weeks prior to this. I have to watch, where's my tip? It's almost always, when I first get bent over, it's almost always off to the right of center. If I want to be center, it's almost always off to the right of that. So this may be something that I can correct. I know I did a series of videos last fall where I was correcting that, or trying to correct that as I went down. My final aiming was with this hand of my final tip placement. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing though is if if I really pay attention and I'm off by that 64th of an inch, then this is just a thumb movement is all this here is. Just a thumb movement to bring that tip back to the center of the vertical line of the cue ball. Quite cool. Now I haven't done a whole lot of banking. What banking I've done has not been phenomenal. I think that probably makes sense because the stroke timing is different than like with the derby style. The speed, I believe, varies more than it does with the derby style, but my concentration is good enough that I really do feel like there's some potential to this. So I'm down here, I'm staring a hole in the balls, but I'm still relaxed with this stuff. It's not just pause, back, pause. I'm not doing that. That was too much work for me. Too much mental effort seemed to be needed for that. Maybe too much physical effort. Maybe not moving around was causing me to stiffen up a little bit, and not in a good way. So I'm doing the Scott Frosty stuff. And when I stroke the ball low, sometimes I am pausing. I've caught myself. Sometimes I am pausing at the end of my final backswing. Sometimes I'm not, and I haven't gotten into it enough to really be trying to figure out, am I consistently pausing on certain shots and consistently not pausing on others? I don't know that. I hope to know that at some point, but I don't know it yet. Way off to the right. So this is not a thumb movement. This is got to move my middle finger to my left a little bit to get back on that vertical center. Pay attention when I'm doing it. Now that I can see the difference of what I was doing. I shot this shot like a million times, just trying to just draw straight back 6 o'clock and watching what was going on. Watching, where's my tip, and I would notice that, hey, it looks like I'm dead center on this ball, or dead 6 o'clock, but then I would shoot it and it would have that spin on it. And eventually that got through my thick skull that even though it looked like it was dead 6 o'clock, it must not have been dead 6 o'clock. It was off to the right a little bit. So now I know what it looks like. What looks like dead center is not, unless I really pay attention to it. And I guess somehow figure out how to use both eyes or the proper combination of eyes or whatever. Then I can find dead center. It's just not the first thing I see. Make sense? That's very cool because being able to hit the cue ball where I want is something that's kind of important to me. Yeah, same thing right there. So this time with my middle finger to my left a little bit. Not very much. I do that, and I hit it at dead 6 o'clock. The cue ball came straight back. So, yay! All right, later. Just seriously, so just think about this for a minute, okay? How many times in the last, let's call it 16 years or so, since I kind of stopped trying to find the dead stroke, the original dead stroke, at least since then, maybe even before that, how many times have I just been cruising along and every now and then would just miss a shot and be like, well, that was freaking weird. And a lot of the times that was probably a concentration issue. I've said that, admitted that to myself, and hell, I think I can recognize that in myself a lot. Is that I have a style that I think doesn't need concentration, yet it does. Anyway, that's not the point of this little segment. The point of this little segment is, what if even 10% of those times where I've just flat out just missed a shot, and what the hell? What just happened? I can't blame it on a miscue. Maybe I can't even blame it on concentration. You know, some kind of an obvious flaw in my stroke. Can't really pin it down, but I would still miss. What if some of those times were just about not hitting the cue ball where I wanted to hit it? Now, my little variation isn't much, but if I want to hit a center ball, and I hit it on the right side, even a little bit, it can throw off the shot. It can squirt. It can definitely affect draw. That's when I first noticed it. It can affect stuff, and it can make me miss shots. If I want to hit it a little bit to the right, and I go a little bit more to the right, that's not as big of a deal, I don't believe. If I want to hit it left, and I end up hitting it center, that's another big deal. These are, at least potentially, reasons that I've missed some of those shots and haven't been able to pin down what the hell is going on. So I want to get into the habit of, while I'm down here, even though I'm doing my Scott Frosty relaxation stuff, where's this fucking tip going? If it's going right of center, and I want it to be right on center, depending on my bridge style, I'm either going to move this finger over a little bit, or it look like with open bridge, it was simply pick up my thumb a little bit. I've got this kind of movement just like picking up my thumb a little bit. But when I'm down here, because as I said in the last segment, when I bend over, the first place I go, if I want to go 6 o'clock, the first place I go is a little bit to the right of 6 o'clock. And at least these last few days, I have the ability to recognize that in myself and fix that while I'm down here. And then I can shoot a deep shot in and hit it accurately. Still could have a judgment issue or whatever, but crap, all those times I've been missing shots, they all can't be concentration or flaw in my stroke or whatever. Maybe if I throw out the concentration, flaw in my stroke, all the other stuff, I'm still missing some shots. Maybe it's because I'm not hitting the ball where I want. So fix that. And that gets me just that much closer. Now this time I moved this finger to get over there. It's an open bridge. I also could have just did my thumb, but I think because I wanted to stay down low, I think that's why I just moved this finger instead of my thumb. If I move my thumb, it does raise the cue a little bit. So invariably, I'm coming down with a little bit of right English. This is a closed bridge, so I'm going to move that middle finger. Actually, I'm going to move it a little bit more. My judgment was off on that shot. It's a back cut, fucking back cuts. I want to do an open bridge on the shot. Yeah. If I move my pointing finger, it's not changing very much. But there's not very much to change. There's not very much of an issue. I hate back cuts. Ever mention that? That's back, Dave. So I'm excited. I mean, hell, this is like I spent awful lot of time after Derby going, well, man, fucking pool, it's so boring. And it was because I was boring. I wasn't shooting well enough to keep it interesting. And I've always liked having like a new discovery that made me shoot better and made it more exciting and interesting for me. This here, I don't believe is really that much of a new discovery, but it just may be a fix that, in theory, I could apply to anything. I could apply it to Dippy or the Derby Star or whatever, and hit this freaking cue ball where I want to hit it, confirm it, work on my stupid back cuts. I hate back cuts. Did I ever mention I hate back cuts? And that's it. I'm going to work on. I'm going to keep working on my damn back cuts. This isn't even much of one, but I'm going to keep working on it. The times when I worked on it before, when I'm hitting the cue ball in the wrong place, hitting it with right English when I don't want to, hitting it with left English over here on a back cut when I don't want to, hitting in the wrong place, not necessarily left English. But if I hit the cue ball where I want, then I can train Obi's judgment on how to hit the damn back cuts. Train him more easily than, okay, how do you hit this with right English? That's what I think I've been doing that a lot. How do I back cut this 11 with right English, with inside English? Those are hard shots. But hitting this 11 with, on the vertical axis isn't nearly as hard. I just have to hit the damn vertical axis, and I feel like I'm capable of doing that now. I don't know why I could not see it before. I mean, I could see that I wasn't getting lined up right. I was doing my shit down here, and I was getting lined up here and pointing that way. I feel like I've corrected that, but I'm still when I was down here looking, I'm like, yeah, that's vertical center, and it's not. It's not vertical center. For some reason now I can see that it's not vertical center, and I can make a decision based on that. Do I want it to be vertical center, or is a little bit of right English okay? This in here, I would hit this with like 5:45 o'clock anyway. But I can confirm that that's where I'm aiming. That's where I'm going to hit it. Because I guess I've somehow learned where my eyes are shifting, and I truly am seeing shots differently now. And for some reason now I can see that I'm wrong. And then when I put it back, when I put it in the correct place, I can see that. It's not effortless to see that I'm really on the vertical axis. But I can see it with just a little bit of effort. With just a little bit of effort, I can see that, okay, I'm on that damn vertical axis and put the ball in. Whereas before, I don't feel like I could see that. I feel like, well, I knew I was hitting accidental right English, and the fix was to make it look to my eyes like I'm hitting left English on the shot, and fool myself. Never liked that approach. Still don't like that approach. I don't have to do that when I'm seeing this stuff correctly. I don't have to fool myself. I just have to look a little harder, look a little more closely, whatever. Like I said, right now my eyes are working to allow me to do that. I hope that stays the case, and my eyes don't keep shifting, and then stuff gets fucked up even more, or maybe the other direction or something. But even if that happens, maybe I'll be able to take this, what I've learned these last 2 days, and be able to recognize it more quickly. If I get down, I'm looking at a shot really closely, and all of a sudden it starts being maybe a little bit of left English or something like that. And if I can notice that, don't rely on what I see when I'm up here getting it, alignment, and all this, getting down in the shot. Try to rely on what I see when I'm down on the shot, but not even then, not the first glance. Take those frosty practice strokes and really pay attention to where I'm hitting that cue ball. I've said it a million times, this could be big, this could be big, this could be huge. This, once again, this could be a big thing, And this could be a big thing that could help to cure one of the big problems that I've had, which has just been fucking missing shots. I miss a lot of ball and hand shots, like that, for example. Why'd you miss that? It makes it hard to be an aggressive player when I don't feel like I can make any shots, or I don't feel like I can make shots anywhere near the way I used to be able to. I like this. I'm excited about this. So I spent a couple months after Derby going fuzzy pool. Now I'm excited again. I want to play pool again. And that's always kind of a point. It's fun, and now it's fun again. It's not just going through the motions and hoping I get better. I did go through some motions, and I have gotten better. And so now it becomes enjoy it and try to make it last, unlike a lot of the other stuff. This is not a style of the day, stroke of the day, whatever. This is a fundamental difference in how I can see where the tip is hitting that cue ball. Now, there are some style elements in what I'm doing here lately, but these videos, this segment in particular, is about seeing the shot correctly and making sure that I'm seeing it correctly. Very cool shit.